Good evening. My name is Dan Dumas, and this is the Clarity Channel 5 by 5. We are now 21 weeks into a global pandemic, and it's been crazy. And people are getting short on patience and are struggling with patience. In our Western mindset, we want everything with immediacy. We want it right now. We don't want to wait in lines. We want our fast food faster. We want our internet speed greater. And we just struggle with patience. And when you mix into that Western cultural mindset, a global pandemic where basically everything's shut down, careers set aside, nonprofits on hold, the marketplace virtually non-existent. I mean, it's just been crazy. Only essential businesses are able to flourish in this time. This is a global pandemic, and it can be frustrating. And you can lose your mind, and you can lose your patience, and you're going to be short on patience. However, the New Testament reminds us that we're to be long on patience. The actual word patience means long sacrifice or long suffering. We need to be long in our suffrage. We need to be long in our suffering. We don't need to have short fuses, and we don't need to pop off at the saints or pop off online or pop off on Instagram or pop off on Twitter. We need to be long suffering, long sacrificing in the midst of adversity, in the midst of affliction, in the midst of a trial of this magnitude. We need patience. And I'm reminding you tonight of the need for patience. Patience is a virtue. And I've selected James 5, 7 to 11 for your consideration. The context here is that the people of Christ are dispersed. They have been kicked all over the Mediterranean region like a soccer ball. And they are frustrated. They are contemplating going back to Judaism because the persecution and the oppression is thick, and it's hard, and it's weighty. And so James writes in James chapter 5 to stiffen their resolve. He writes this: "Therefore, brothers and sisters, be patient until the Lord's coming. See how the farmer waits for the precious fruit of the earth and is patient until he receives the early and the late rains. You also be patient. Strengthen your hearts, because the Lord's coming is near. Brothers and sisters, do not complain to one another, so that you will not be judged. Look, the judge stands at the door. Brothers and sisters, take the prophets who spoke in the Lord's name as an example of suffering and patience. See, we count as blessed those who have patience. You have heard of Job's patience and endurance and have seen the outcome of what the Lord brought about in his life. The Lord is compassionate and merciful." So if you want to learn patience, then you should consider three examples: the farmer, the expectant bride, and then the patriarchs and the prophets. Actually, there's four examples there in this text. The farmer, everyone knows, he can do everything to the soil. He plants, he works. That's the rhythm. He works hard, and then he waits. He waits for the early and late rains. In the first century, they didn't have the ability to tap into a water source beneath the ground. And so they just waited. They had to be patient and wait upon those rains, because rain was required to grow their crops. The expectant bride, the coming of the Lord, the bride of Christ, and the bridegroom being Jesus Christ, the end times, the parousia, the second coming, is another reminder for us to be patient. We patiently wait like an expected bride for the bridegroom. We're to strengthen our hearts, and we're to guard our tongues. That's what he says. Strengthen your hearts there in verse 8. And then guard your tongues. Don't criticize everyone. Don't lose your mind in a global pandemic, right? Be patient. And then the prophets, they knew their calling. They were to speak up. They were to call out God's people when they sinned. That was not popular, but they were patient with the whole calling and what they were expected to do. And then Job, what a stud. Read Job 1 as a little bit of homework. This guy was absolutely incredible. He endured in a single day the most catastrophic pain and suffering that anybody could endure, and he did it with patience. Man, I'm here to remind you tonight, we need patience. We don't need to be short on patience. We need to be long on patience. Patience is a virtue. It is a fruit of the Spirit. And if the Spirit of God resides in you and you're a follower of Christ, then put on patience. You can't control everything. You can't make everything happen. You've got to trust the sovereign care of God. Pillow your head on the sovereignty of God. Be patient. This is my challenge to you. Monday night, week 21, COVID-19, over and out.